Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Welcome to our witnesses, and thank you very much for your service. Mr. Secretary, last week, Admiral Kilby testified that the DDG 51 Flight 3, with its advanced radar, is the ship that the Navy must have in order to keep up with our adversaries. Secretary Gertz said that the Flight 3s are needed to be a firm backbone for the Navy if we're going to compete on a global scale. In a letter to me dated January 27th, you too talked about the critical role that the DDG 51 Flight 3 is playing. And that's why I was so surprised and alarmed when the budget came out and showed, as the chairman has indicated, deep reductions in the DDG 51 procurement in the future years defense program. It seems to me that these cuts are contrary to the testimony we've heard about the vital importance of these ships, that they undermine the president's commitment to a 355 fleet Navy, and they also cause instability in the industrial base, and we've heard that from a number of our colleagues today. It's important that we continue to add Flight 3 capability to the fleet while also avoiding these up and down peaks and valleys in our industrial base that end up squandering the expertise and training of skilled workers at shipyards like Bath Iron Works. It also frequently causes cost increases in the long run. So I would urge you to avoid this abrupt change in the number of ships that you plan to procure. I also want to ask you this morning about where we are on an additional follow-on multi-year contract for Flight 3s. Wouldn't that help to continue to add important capability to the fleet, save us money, and help ensure that stability in the industrial base that's so important?
Senator, I agree with everything you said. The DDG Flight 3, 51 Flight 3 is critical. It's going to be a critical part of our future force. In the 21 budget, we had to make some tough choices in 21 that were basically focused on readiness and the safety of our sailors that are on these ships. And as you know all too well, a couple of years ago, we had some very horrible tragedies on a couple of these ships, largely because they were being overworked. We didn't have enough people on them. So we're trying to bring up the number of crew members. That costs money. So we had to make some choices in 21. The long-term future for the DDG 51 Flight 3 is going to be a critical part of our future fleet. And as we're looking at this new integrated force structure assessment, it is part of that too. So we need to do a bit of a reset here in 22 as we look at 22 and we do that POM in terms of how we do the types of things you're talking about, how we develop stability in the industrial base so we don't have these perturbations every other year. And using these multi-year contracts, which we've done for the submarines, we've done it for the carrier, they're very, very helpful because not only do they provide stability to the industrial base, they drive the cost down for us as well. So yes, we're looking at all those factors.
Well, again, I think that it's very evident where you look at where our ships are deployed today, that there's stress on our sailors, there's stress on our ships, and we need more of both.